Kaieteur Radio, keeping you informed.
Demerara and Essequibo 99.1 FM.
Burby's 99.5 FM. Kaieteur Radio.
Good evening and welcome to this evening's newscast right here on Kaieteur Radio. Before we get to the news in detail, let's get to the front page comment of today's Kaieteur news. That $10.5 million rented tent. Since we spent $10.5 million rental for a single tent, we should do something special with it. For something that is more expensive than the finest silk, we should wrap the people responsible for such an outrage and abomination in it, attach the cords that pin this tent to the ground, and parade them all over town. There was a time when, for less than this multi-million-dollar piece of tarpaulin, the men who committed such a crime would be marched out at dawn, paraded before a crowd of cheering and jeering spectators, given a cigarette, offered a blindfold, and given a deserved send-off. But we live in a gentler and kinder civilization now. The problem is that we, the Guyanese taxpayers, are the one who have to bear the costs and endure the sacrifices because of the scoundrels that promise us much during the elections campaign, but who run around and plunder everything in sight. Their actions, like this $10.5 million boondoggle, test our patience. We believe that this tent should be converted into a pavilion to imprison the Guyanese pharaohs who squander our resources. This is a serious need for this land to be rid of these persons who betray the trust of the people. And now for your news in detail. Kevin Smith here. While Guyana is considered to be in a most privileged position, given the quality of its reserves, securing the most value from that resource would not be possible without effective regulation. In recognition of this reality, the Inter-American Development Bank, in a special report called Traversing a Slippery Slope, Guyana's Oil Opportunity, it recommended that this South American nation take note of the many ways Mexico was able to transform its oil industry into one that is effectively regulated for the benefit of its people. The bank document noted that Mexico's oil industry was close to foreign investment for almost 8 years and only saw the sole participation of its national oil company, Pemex. Things changed in 2013 when it was agreed that the sector would open up and allow for foreign interests, but not Mexico, until implemented but not until Mexico implemented a sector-wide reform. After severe legal changes, the bank noted that Mexico established 3 entities for the sole purpose of regulating operations in the industry. In other news, last week, Minister of Education Priya Manik Chand visited Baramita at Matthews Ridge in Port Kaituma and Maruka in Region 1. In a release, the ministry revealed that the visits were part of an awareness campaign to familiarize stakeholders with the new methods of dispensing education amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Public schools remain closed, with some students accessing teachers via online classes. However, thousands of students, especially in the hinterlands, have no internet access. The idea was to have a hybrid system in place using a mix of internet and learning materials. And moving on, the panel for the Commission of Inquiry into the protracted March 2nd, 2020 elections may very well emerge from those organizations who championed for 5 months for Guyana's democracy. Same was revealed by President Irfan Ali during an interview with Jamaica's Scene TV, The Conversation. Ali reiterated his commitment to ensure that the inquiry is conducted into what occurred both during and after those elections to ensure that the authors are held accountable for the role they played. And moving on, the New Movement, or TNM, a political party comprised of medical doctors, is supporting the demands of health workers who have been appealing to the government for better wages and risk allowances. TNM's comments follow after hundreds of health workers from the Georgetown Public Hospital Corporation, the West Demerara Regional Hospital, and the Linden Hospital Complex staged protests for better salaries, working conditions, and even risk allowances last week. And now let's tell you that upon noting the fact that the PPPC is just mere days away from signing off on ExxonMobil's third well project in the Starbuck block called Payara, international petroleum consultant Dr. Jan Mangal posited that one can clearly conclude that the current regime is executing actions that will leave Guyana as a banana republic. Dr. Mangal said that he is thoroughly disappointed to see Guyanese politicians continue to sell out the nation. He said that Guyana always should have been the beacon for the Caribbean. And moving on, corruption is endemic in the petroleum sector, not just among license or rights holders, but among their partnering subcontractors and suppliers. That is why the Natural Resource Governance Institute is encouraging more oversight for these companies in its 2020 report titled Beneath the Surface, the case for oversight of extractive industry suppliers. The Institute explained that while oil, gas, and mining projects are usually associated with big names such as Shell and Exxon, lower-profile companies do much of the work to take natural resources out of the ground. These are suppliers or companies that range in size from multi-billion-dollar international conglomerates to specialized or local firms. An analysis done by the Institute found that suppliers played significant roles in extractive industry corruption scandals and foreign bribery cases in at least 29 countries across 5 continents. And moving on, $6.5 million or 4% of the $150 million Chedi Jagan International Airport expansion will see the project getting more value for money in executing additional works on what's supposed to be the regional transit hub. This is according to Minister of Public Works Juan Egil. Egil had reported that an assessment of the airport and revised contract revealed that there has been a significant reduction in scope of works from that in the original $138 million contract signed before May 2015. Let's tell you now that the increase in road fatalities this year has mostly affected our youth population. For the period January 1st, 2020 to September 25th, 2020, Guyana recorded a 42% increase in deaths from 37% increase in road fatalities when compared to 2019. This is according to the Guyana Police Force Traffic Department statistics. The Police Force traffic statistics show that road fatalities are more prevalent with motorcyclists between ages 17 to 24. And the highest age range of persons involved in fatal accidents are between 25 to 42 years old. Road traffic accidents and deaths are a major concern to the Guyana Police Force. It added that the increase in the number of young persons being killed in road accidents not only affect individuals, but also the communities and the country at large. And that brings us to the end of this evening's newscast. I am Kevin Smith. Thank you for listening.
And that's the news of the moment. Remember to get the full details of these stories, pick up a copy of the Kaieteur News. And don't forget, you can catch us on the MyTuner app as well as the Radio Garden app. You can also keep up to date by liking our Facebook page at Kaieteur Radio and subscribing to